Mr. Ajay Jain.
Yes.
Ajay, you are already a civil servant.
Yes.
IRTS 2017. What was your score in PT?
It was 160, sir.
160.
Yes.
And before that?
143.
Achha. Very good. So only. So what is your new set of preferences of services?
Sir, it is IAS, then IPS, then IFS, then IRS IT, and then custom.
IRTS तो आप already हैं?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. You are a electronics and communication engineer.
Yes, sir.
And computer science is a subset of electronics.
Yes, we use in applied science.
Applied science. What's the difference between communication and mass communication?
So communication is a general term which includes person-to-person communication like on telephone and mobile, whereas mass communication is communication with the people more than in a large public or large mass, like in newspaper, televisions, etc. So it is exchange of information with the mass.
But how to handle the mass communication? How to handle the media? Everybody is not authorized to interact with the media.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Should there be some training in the art of handling the mass media?
Yes, sir. There should be some training.
Well, Ajay,
Yes, sir.
how would you describe India geographically?
Sir, I will first start from the India.
You start. You start.
India lies in the South Asia, in the on the planet of Earth, and it's from the boundary level it is peninsular in the south and mountainous in the north. So it is geographically isolated from the land borders as well as which makes it unique country, which leads to development of all kind of culture and religion and diversity we have. Then in internal geography also we have several mountains.
There are well-defined regions.
Well-defined regions.
Which are those? Basically, my question.
The physiographic region, so Himalayan region, then Thar Desert, then islands, then peninsular plateau, then eastern lands. These are the 5 physiographic regions.
And you are from Rajasthan.
Yes.
So which district of Rajasthan is called as the gateway to Thar Desert?
Sir, I am not sure, but it is boundary district like Jaisalmer or Bikaner.
I am saying gateway to Thar Desert.
Okay, sorry. So I don't know.
Okay. Now, can you do this SWOT analysis of Rajasthan for us? What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?
If we talk about the strength of the Rajasthan, then Rajasthan is one of the lowest poverty when it comes to the lower income group states. So it has only 15% of poverty. Then it has a strength of like tourism industry, renewable energy, and 39% of the DMIC, Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor, is also passing through Rajasthan. So which will increase the industrialization in the Rajasthan. So weakness is also that the water scarcity is one of the major problem. Then social problems in Rajasthan is also the problem, like Rajasthan has one of the lowest female literacy. Then social issues like child marriage and low child sex ratio is still prevalent in the Rajasthan. Then low industrialization, despite having a number of minerals. Rajasthan do not have the industries. Then threats to the Rajasthan is like the Gujar agitation is there, or cow vigilantism is also the one of the reason. Then atrocities towards the ST/SC communities is higher than what is prevalent in other states. And then in terms of economic, like Gujarat is a adjacent state to the Rajasthan, so the industries prefer to move towards Gujarat or either to the Delhi. So it is trapped in both these states, so that's why industries do not come here. So these are the some threats also.
Have you heard of right to hearing? There's an act in Rajasthan, right to hearing.
Sorry, sir.
Now, there is a huge growth of artificial intelligence in the last couple of years, and India also is poised to become a AI power. We are only after, I think, China and Russia, America, in terms of its adoption, its training, and we are taking artificial intelligence in a big way.
Yes.
But at the same time, there is a apprehension that this will render a lot of our youth jobless, and as a result, whatever demographic dividend we enjoy,
Yes, sir.
as we have large working population, that will be frittered away. What do you think? How to reconcile this use of demographic dividend and new growth in technology like artificial intelligence, machine intelligence, robotics?
Yes, sir. That there is a big concern about the unemployment and jobless towards the youth. What we required is that after the coming of AI, there will be new kinds of job will be there. So for that we have to train the youth, and then we have to make a policy decisions which have the constructive job destructions. For example, like in people is employing in the manufacturing industry and doing manual jobs, we have to train so that they can handle the robots or machines. Then people will start more on working on the problems, like a higher level of problems, which requires analyzing, consulting, soft and other jobs like soft skill jobs, communications. These jobs will increase nowadays.
My last question to you would be, Ajay, India is known worldwide for so many good things.
Yes, sir.
Rich cultural heritage, yoga, etc. On a positive note. But at the same time, we are also infamous for corruption.
Yes, sir.
World views India as one of the most corrupt countries in the world.
Yes.
And also, as per that Transparency International report,
Yes.
we rank very low, almost 143, 144 among some 190 countries. And even we are lower than some of our neighbors. What is the reason why corruption has become so rampant in India? What do you think? Tell me the cause. Why it is so? That we are so corrupt as a nation.
Sir, I think the information or the information to the mass or to the public is very low. We started in 1950, only 12% literacy was there, and so the people were not aware about how these things happens, what are the information, what are our rights, where to have our grievances, and because of this, the corruption became the low risk, high gain activity, and that's why the people in power are misutilizing their power, and that's.
Okay, Ajay, we were talking about this situation of women in Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
So, another movement happened in Rajasthan was this self-help groups.
Yes, sir.
So, what has been their role in developing women?
Sir, SHG is one of the most successful initiative which led to the poverty alleviation, and in India it's one Sahayata Samuh which led to help to poverty alleviation and at the same time empowerment. So SHG is one of the policy which led to the move people from poverty to middle class. Earlier, whatever intervention were there, they just above the poverty line. It led to come into the middle class. So it is empowered based approach rather than just a welfare approach. And they have developed now capabilities that they will again do not fall in the poverty area.
Okay. We have so many regulators in our country.
Yes, sir.
Could you name some of the prominent ones?
Yes, sir. For banking, Reserve Bank of India.
Okay.
For capital markets, Security Exchange Board of India. And for press, we have Press Authority of India. Similarly, like for government regulation, we have audit, cake audit also.
For government we have?
So cake audit is one.
CAG. Can we call CAG as a regulator?
No, sorry sir, we cannot call it.
It's not a regulator
auditor.
because it doesn't make any policies.
Yes sir, sorry.
Now coming to RBI, and we'll be talking about its role as a regulator. So what are the things RBI does as a regulator?
Sir, monetary policy, it regulates the monetary policy initiatives and therefore making the credit availability and money flow at the good level which is required for a macroeconomic stability. Second, it regulates the banking structure, where to open bank, various schemes like rural area, financial inclusion is also one of the area of RBI. And then foreign exchange is also regulated by the RBI.
Actually, RBI is regulator only for banks.
Yes.
As regards monetary policy, it is a separate function. It is not a regulatory function. Similarly, foreign exchange, maintenance of foreign exchange reserves
One of the
is also a function of RBI, but not a regulatory function.
Yes.
As its function of having this monetary policy formulation. So, how do you see the monetary policy that is being followed now?
So now it is very well structured and very like they have given the target, inflation targeting to the monetary policy has been given an inflation targeting to keep the inflation between 4 plus 2 or minus 2, and they have to explain why it is not under this limit. So giving them a target helps them to have a clear policy directives. Second, with like fiscal, they have to now, government has a representation there. So with the fiscal policy, monetary policy has a coordination, and therefore there will be a better outcome of both the fiscal policy and monetary policy. So it is good now.
Now you mentioned fiscal policy and monetary policy, and you said they need to be coordinated.
Yes.
But there is a conflict in both the policies, always is there. What is that conflict in fiscal policy and monetary policy?
So, fiscal policy, monetary policies caters to the demand side, and fiscal policy generally caters to the supply side. So, fiscal policy always try to give tax incentives or some kind of infrastructure projects so that the industry grows, for example. But in monetary policy, if there is due to the fiscal stimulus, if there is inflation, they will try to reduce it. So there is this kind of contradiction between both.
So, talking about fiscal policy, are we prudently managing our deficits?
Nowadays, we are started to have prudence in fiscal policy after the fiscal FRBM Act, Fiscal Responsible Budget Management Act, and our revenue in fiscal policy, the revenue expenditure is our obligation, but the revenue generation there we need to have to work. So in fiscal policy, the revenue generation is one of the weak point. Like we have one of the lowest tax to GDP ratio, and non-tax revenue is also low. And in capital expenditure, nowadays it is increasing. So in fiscal policy, revenue generation is one of the weak points.
When foreign exchange, that is also a function of RBI.
Yes.
Our foreign exchange reserves were more than $4 billion. They came down suddenly during the oil crisis. There was a lot of criticism of RBI. So, do you agree with that criticism that RBI was through open market operations spending that foreign exchange?
Sorry, sir, I haven't followed this.
Okay, I have followed. Now, as a regulator of banks, there is again a conflict of interest. Are you aware what is the conflict of interest as a regulator?
RBI is a bank to the government, and RBI is also regulator of the banks. So when government bonds to be issued,
As a regulator of banks, there is a problem that one person of RBI happens to be on the board of directors of the banks. So he is a part of decision making process. So when RBI is a part of the decision making process, RBI cannot be a regulator.
yes,
That is the main conflict of interest which is yet to be resolved.
yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Ajay, you must have seen those danglers outside the pawn shop or some ration shop saying, buy this oil. You have a dangler. It's called dangler. It keeps on dangling with the air. Have you seen those?
So I'm not getting what kind of.
Dangler is a word. Anyway, you have seen standees.
Yes, sir.
If you go to a mall,
Yes, sir.
you'll find that, some standee there for
Advertisements.
standees, advertisements. Dangler is also advertisement. It keeps on hopping around here and everywhere. Anyway, it's like a chime, CHIM. Anyway, do they also come in the mass communication?
Yes, sir. In a way, they come into mass communication as their target is larger public, and they convey their information that what we have and what we are offering to you.
What about this mobile? They also come in the mass communication.
Sir, if we are talking person to person, then it comes into the it doesn't come into the mass communication. But if mobile is used in a group, or if it is sending message to the number of people, then it comes into mass communication.
A political speech by the Prime Minister, does it come under mass communication? He is speaking to a large number of people.
Yes.
It comes under mass communication. And if you are listening to radio, then if you are alone listening to a radio, is it part of mass communication?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the difference between mass communication and mass media?
Mass media is, I think, the medium which is used for mass communication.
Mass media is a medium used for mass communication. And mobile does not come under this category of mass communication.
So it is blurring lines nowadays because of the more and more technologies coming, like Facebook Live starts conveying message to the number of people, then we have to call it mass.
Okay. And what is Intercommunication.
So if we divide inter and intra communication, then communication within the system is intra communication, and with the other system is inter communication.
So when you're talking to your own self, does it come into intercommunication or intra-communication? When you're talking to your own self, you don't have to speak, you just talk to your own self at times.
Intra communication.
Intra-communication. Are you very sure of it?
No, sir, I am not sure.
Not very sure?
Yes.
Doesn't matter. And now you're also connected with some NGO.
Yes.
Right? Do it voluntarily.
Yes.
NGOs are generally formed to do some work for the welfare of the people in the society. Perhaps the downtrodden or destitute or unlucky people, right? Do you have any idea if there's any NGO which is working for the subsistence of the sacked people from the government or corporate or any organization? Is there any NGO working to give them employment if they have been sacked? Because there are a lot of people who have been sacked, thrown out, kicked out, whether it's media, whether it's government, whether it's they have suspension also in our corporate sector. They do it en masse, you know. So is there any NGO working?
So I haven't come across this.
Okay. Now, is there any NGO, like, you know, sometimes you might see in a hospital that a man, a food seller or thele wala goes there, gets, you know, and he's got a heart attack. He goes there, somehow they say, okay, fine. Now, he's advised rest for 15 days. He has got only one means of livelihood, that is selling his ware from the street, chatwala, whatever it is. He does not have a shop. Now, is there any NGO which has built a sort of a house or dharamshala type where these totally downtrodden people, helpless people can recuperate for 15 days along with the medicine and some fruit? Because when you recuperate, you have to have fruits, and the doctor also has some good diet. Is there any NGO which provides such kind of a facility?
In Maharashtra's Dr. Amte is providing health facilities to the people, but it is not such kind of.
It is not.
Yes.
They don't have a recuperating
Yes.
center.
I'm not
So,
able to.
Don't you think the government of India should have, if you become a civil servant, don't you think that you being part of NGO, don't you think that the government of India should have these kind of small shelters, bedded shelters where such kind of people can have it should be a recuperating center for these very poor people?
Yes, sir. Government should have this, and in government hospitals, the beds are provided free of cost also.
No, that is true. But about the recuperation, when the doctor tells you to have a good diet,
Yes.
and you don't have money because you are a vendor.
Yes, sir. So government is started like Annapurna Rasoi scheme in Rajasthan, where the people can get breakfast for 5 rupees and dinner and lunch for 8 rupees. And government can also collaborate with NGOs like Akshay Patra Foundation, which is also making very hygienic and nutritious food at very low cost and providing to the midday meal schools. So and then nearby in hostel we can have a shelter also. With the helping of NGO, government can also provide some fund for that also.
That is very nice. What is this Python rake? Have you ever heard of this?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
It is a long haul freight trains
Yeah.
which is used, which is hauled by more than 2 or 3 locomotives, and therefore increasing the carrying capacity of the freights.
Do we have one in India?
Yes, sir, we have started recently.
How many bogies does approximate?
So like single hold has 58 bogies. So if we are using 2 or 3 locomotives, then multiple of 58 can be used.
That's very interesting. And any idea of this Nirav Modi who escaped with a lot of money?
Yes, sir.
Now, the government has just demolished his bungalow in Mumbai, a big bungalow. Now, demolishing a bungalow and later on selling the land, or selling the bungalow inclusive of the land, because government has spent a lot of money and a lot of manpower in demolishing, they have to finally go in for bombs, detonators. They couldn't demolish it otherwise. Government has yet to recover. Demolishing a person's bungalow, is it some kind of a signal to the people in the country?
Demolishing a bungalow is a signal that it has been acquired by the government, and it will not be given back, because now it is demolished.
He's not coming back also. That's the main problem. He is not coming back. Even if you give signals, I think they are wrong signals.
But other people will see.
Okay, you're a bright chap. What is the national food of our country?
There is no particular national food, but samosa can be found all around the.
Are you fond of samosas?
Not much, but I have.
That's why you said samosa. But Prime Minister recently announced that there is a national food now, which we know as national food. Prime Minister Mr. Modi. No idea. Then I'm sure that you must be knowing the national food.
Mango.
And what was the national motto?
Satyam Jai.
And in which language is this Mahatma Gandhi's Raghupati Raga?
Sir, it is a dialect of Hindi, and
You don't have to be so serious about it.
yes, it is Hindi.
Simple. It is Hindi. So why were you reluctant?
I was trying to be more precise, like if some regional is there.
When Gandhi said, "Hey Ram," people are now distrusting that he ever said those two words while he was shot dead by bullets. By whom?
Mr. Nathuram Godse.
Okay. Now, RSS, one of the political things, they say that it was Nehru who shot dead. Can history be distorted like this?
No, sir, we should refrain from such kind of distortions.
So, in this valley, that they have this dancing girl statue in Rampant, this thing, and many other things, should we actually take it as authentic?
Sir, for Indus Valley, we only have some archaeological evidences, and if by having we dig more and we found some more evidences, then we can reinterpret the.
But surprisingly, at that Timurti Bhavan, where Gandhi was, Birla House.
Birla was different.
Gandhi was shot at
Birla House.
Birla House.
30 January mark.
30 January mark. That is, not Tim, sorry.
Gandhi Simriti.
yeah.
Simriti Karni.
Gandhi. So, there was no, incidentally, there was no movie cameraman at that time. Otherwise, that could have been, evidence. So now this kind of distortion of history is being done on social media, which is part of mass media. What do you have to say about such things?
So, these kinds of distortion are done to either have some more likes or comments or some kind of getting attentions, and nothing much is substantial is being discussed on this kind of by these kinds of rumors. So we should try to regulate such kind of misinformations, and only the authentic information should be proliferated.
Thank you, Ajay. Thanks, sir.
Ajay, I have to cut short in the middle. Yes, I'll have 2 or 3 small questions, and I will expect short answers. Since you are a student of geography, why do we focus on ocean temperature whenever we talk about global warming?
Sir, with the rising of temperature, the carbon dioxide releases. So if the temperature rises, the carbon dioxide will release, and if carbon dioxide releases, the global warming will increase. Therefore, we have to talk about ocean.
You know, I was asking about mass communication.
Yes.
You belong to Rajasthan. An ordinance was passed by the former government of Rajasthan for media gag.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of that?
Yes.
What happened to the fate of that ordinance?
Sir, it is already lapsed.
Has lapsed. What was the motive behind it?
So, according to the government, to protect the honest civil servants and judges, and so that they can work without any hampering, and therefore, and also the media trials, because without investigation and some kinds of proper evidences, sometimes media accuses the civil servants that they have done or they have not done something, and that's lead to the poor decision making or reluctance in taking the decision. So this was the reasoning behind the having the media gag and providing protection.
Was that the correct reasoning, or was there something else?
So that's what I remember right now.
Demonetization, its success and failures.
So, reducing the terror financing. Second is increase in the digitalization of the economy. Third is the bank. We have now the trail where the money is going, because all the money were came back into the banks, so that we can have a investigation about the black money. Then fake currency has been is reduced because of the new currency. But the failure, when it comes to failure, the immediate impact on the MSME and the farmers was very high, because they depend on the cash, and cash was not available even after the 4 months. So that impacted the farmers and MSME sector, and therefore casual laborers, etc. And it reduced our economic growth by 0.5%, so these are the some.
Okay. Ram Janambhoomi issue is sub judice for Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about it?
So now it is not just a dispute of land title. It has become a dispute of it has become a matter of faith, and it can have impact on the social harmony of the country also. And therefore it should be taken very cautiously. And Supreme Court today has also announced for the mediation committee, so that they can start and I think it is a good decision. By having a consensus based decision on this will be the best interest for the country.
It is to be headed by whom?
So it is monitored by Supreme Court, but
No, headed that committee,
so I am
mediation committee. Its
interested.
composition has been announced.
Yes, a 3-member.
3 members, chaired by one retired justice, Khaliullah, and Sri Ravi Shankar is 1 member, and a senior advocate, another senior advocate is another member, and they can co-opt. Just for your information.
Yes.
So, and the decision has to be taken within, its recommendations have to be finalized within 8 weeks. Remember that. And media has been barred from reporting the proceedings.
Yes.
That is the decision of the Supreme Court.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, let us, your interview is over now.
Thank you, sir.
Short points. Since you are already a civil servant, your eye contact should keep moving. That was a major flaw in your personality. You kept looking only at one person in one direction. Please have a look at others. You must remember that since you are already a civil servant, the expectations of the board, UPSC board, will be higher from you.
Sir, but it becomes difficult then if we are looking then.
No, it means a fleeting glance. I am talking only of giving a fleeting glance, not staring at each one of us.
Yes.
In a very natural way. No? Yes. I mean, as if you are talking to everyone. Suppose you are district collector, you are chairing a meeting.
Yes.
So you have to look at everyone. It is not that you are only focusing on.
Yes.
Even if you are talking on a particular, say, maybe law and order, but you can't look at only SP. You have to look at others. Similar way.
Yes.
Fleeting glances, yeah. Or your tie, you will wear the same coat or
Yes, the same coat. Tie will be different.
tie, which color tie?
Red color tie.
Red.
Maroon, light red.
Red.
But problem is that कोर्ट के साथ वही मैच करेगा.
हाँ वही करेगा.
या ब्राउन मैच करती है वो करती है.
Brown भी.
Plain होना चाहिए.
थोड़ा
Plain.
उसको डल
Dull brown कर लीजिए.
वो शार्प वो
Yes.
शाइनिंग मत लीजिए.
रेड के बजाय आप थोड़ा लाइट ब्राउन कर लीजिए.
Yes.
And plain color.
Yes.
Plain. No spot, no
Yes.
stripes, nothing. वो करेंगे तो अच्छा रहेगा. ठीक है. That's all from my side. Best of luck to you.
Same here. Whatever you said, but only in the initial stage there was a lot of hand movement. And later on you control that. Better you avoid hand as far as possible.
Yes.
My suggestion is that you keep your answers short. Sometimes your answers are very long and you mention so many things
Yes.
in that answer that it can become a problem for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Just try to give an answer to the extent what is asked. So, as sir very nicely says, you have to reply, you don't have to show your knowledge.
Yes. Sir.
Just do that.
About communication.
No,
Yes, your articulation is okay. No problem. No issue with that.
Yes.
articulation, your overall personality, your
Speech is also okay. So now you have to speak like a bureaucrat.
Yes.
Because when I was talking to you, whatever you were saying, I was picking questions out of that only.
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
all the best.